In today's video, we'll do another exciting kata that will be using a nested loop. Let's get started. Welcome back, fellow coders. My name is Fernando, and today we're doing another live kata with the Codewars website. And today we are doing one that is called Find Count of Most Frequent Item in an Array. The kata itself is simple enough, shouldn't take very long, and the instructions are that we are given an array and that we should assume that it's an input of integers, and we need to be able to find the count of the most frequent item and then give that to the output. In our example here, we see that we have, I don't know, 10 or around 10 integers, and if you go through them, you'll find that -1 is in there 5 times. So we're going to do the same as last time, and let's copy this. And we go back to our project that we've been using for our katas. Let's go ahead and create a new class. We'll name it kata, same as the website. And let's just replace everything there with what we copy. Let's get rid of this comment, and let's just return nil for the moment to get rid of the error. So let's think about what we need to do. We are given an integer array, and we need to iterate through all those values and just keep a count of which one is in there the most, and then we'll just return that value. So, and actually let's go ahead and just put a comment, just for loop. We'll find the item with the highest count. And we can actually do that with, let's see, nested loop. So we have our nested loop here, and here needs to be the collection length, and same here. Now, on the loop here, we need to assign the first integer. Let's actually let's get this variable in there so we can keep track of the current digit. So here we'll assign, take the first item from the collection, and let's see. Yeah, so that's gonna give us the very first item on the collection. Let's make another variable that's gonna be our count. So inside the inner loop, we're gonna do a comparison. So we'll compare if the current digit is equals to the, let's see, collection J. If it's the same, then we'll up our count. +1, and we actually need to set this to 0 in here. So let's get rid of this. And the reason we're doing that is so that every time we get a new digit, the count is set to 0. But we actually need to add another variable here, which is going to be keep track of our highest count. And at the beginning, that's going to be a 0. So here we need to compare if the count is greater than the highest count, then set the highest count to that count. And lastly, down here, we're going to return the highest count. We can save this. And now that we have this solved, well, we haven't actually solved because we need to run the test, but let's go ahead and go back to the website and let's actually copy the tests. See, Alt, Enter. We'll create a test here. We'll just call it kata test and click OK. And let's just replace everything what we got. Change this to kata test. Let's go ahead and run this. And our test run okay on the very first time. So that this was sort of a simple algorithm. But let's go back to, okay, so just to break it down. So we are taking the array here, which is a collection of integers. And an integer is just a fancy name for a whole number. It can be negative or positive. And here we'll just declare a few variables to help us out. Then we go through the for loop, and we're actually using a nested loop. And a nested loop iterates through an item 2 times. So first, this runs 1 time. We set the current digit to the very first item in the collection because I is 0. And we also set the count to 0. Once this iterates 1 time, then it goes through the inner loop, and the current digit gets compared to every item in the collection, and this is going to run all through the collection, and it's going to give us our count. So for example, if 5 it's in there 6 times, this count is going to be 6. And because our highest count in the beginning is 0, this is going to be 6 and 0. It's going to be a higher count, so this gets assigned to highest count. And that's the end of one full iteration of both nested loops, of the nested loop. On the next iteration, we go back to the outer loop and we get a new digit, the second digit in the collection, because now the I is equal to 1. Remember, arrays start at 0, so now we are at the second item, which is 1. And we also reset our count to 0. And we go back through the same process. The second current digit gets compared to every item in the collection and gives a count here. So if we find that, let's say, a digit which is number 7, it's in there 8 times. This is going to be an 8, and this is going to be a 6 because the last highest count was 6. And that will replace the highest count again. So the highest count is just to make sure that we keep track of the number that's in there the most frequent times. The highest count will not get changed if the count is less. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this algorithm actually took less time than I thought it would be. So now let's copy this whole thing and let's go back to the website. And let's actually solve this on the website. Let's run through the samples, and that should give us a green light just as on our local machine. And now let's go ahead and attempt to solve the whole thing. And all of our tests pass. And if you notice here on this one, it's a random test. It's always good to you always feel good when you pass random tests, because a lot of times random tests are some things that you might not think could happen. So the developer of this kata created some random tests that pushed the algorithm to the limits. And sometimes you don't think of everything, and sometimes they fail and you're like, whoa, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. And then you go back to your solution and make some changes. But in this case, everything passed, and you can go ahead and put some comments here if you like of what I went over with. And you can also hit submit and look at other people's solutions. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and let me know in the comments if there's any solution, any kata out there that you'd like me to solve on live kata, and I'll put it on the list. So I'll see you on the next kata. Thank you for watching, and remember to code with a purpose.